Hello everyone and welcome to the Mentor Tournament 2021 presented by Go Mode Podcast. We are out of the Swiss and into the brackets here. We're seeing Palmenkott versus TorinntheDragon. This is game 2. With me commentating is SwedishArcticFox.
Hello Ezmar, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to this race. This is the Tempered Sword bracket, so the way this tournament is structured, we've got we had our Swiss bracket earlier, and that seeded our players into 4 separate bracket stages. This is Tempered Sword, so this is the second highest seeded bracket. So these should be some pretty good matches with a fair bit of experience and skill behind the controller, as it were. So Palmenkott is sort of being represented in the comms here by SwedishArcticFox, representing the Nordic community. So can you tell me a little bit about Palmenkott and you guys?
We started Nordic Randomize a couple of years ago, and Palmen just joined for I think 3-4 months ago, and he been mentored by Walter, who is also from Sweden. And I've seen him grow a lot in the last couple of runs here. I think he have also like 8 undefeated ladder races recently. So this was his first loss in a while, I think, and I think he's hungry for a win here.
Yeah, it's always nice to see relatively newer players, making that great showing and getting into these higher seeded brackets. Gonna throw a little shade at my bud Torin over there. Torin's been playing for years now, no shade. He's a good player, and I definitely think he belongs in this Tempered Sword bracket. So I guess we'll see how these two match up in just a second. We'll be getting this match started. We have the same setup as our Swiss bracket, with the notable exception our sword is randomized, so no freebie sword for our runners this time.
Oh, that's right. They can go long without a sword. But I know that the first game they did here, they got the sword really early. And it was also funny to see that they were so even. I think they hit go mode like at the same point.
Yes, from what I've heard, the last race was decided by an unfortunate lapse in judgment at the Ganon's Tower climb, missing the small key for the very top, which is always a little painful to see. We see both of our runners here starting off going up to Uncle.
Yeah, we see Palmenkott killed an enemy there with a sign, so he can do that tree pull.
Yep, just the 5 arrows, so no big loss for Torin. Looks like Torin is planning on coming back out though. So going here first. There we go. Vanilla sword there from the Uncle.
Wow.
It almost didn't look strange to me, just that sword disappearing, reappearing in Charizard's hands, Frog's hands. We'll see if I am gonna imagine that Torin here is going to perhaps go into the escape sequence.
Yeah, it looks with that sword they can do escape right away, so that's nice. And we did see a map check there really quick. So we have both of our blue and red pendants on Eastern and Desert, and a crystal up in Hera.
Yeah, so that's kind of the I don't know, necessarily want to say worst case scenario, but you do like to see crystals on those light world dungeons because those are pretty quick clears. And Hera, you need to get a couple items before you can get to that, so not necessarily going to be a jet seed here. I would also like to point out that Palmenkott definitely takes a lead here from better routing with that tree pull. Torin wastes a little bit of time redoing the tree pull on the exit. It's not going to make or break the race at this point by any means. We're 2 minutes in.
Yeah, but Palmenkott did get a little bit of a head start here. But like I said, it's depending and there's a bomb drop.
Yeah, Torin refreshes the screen there. I'm not sure exactly what the screen refresh was about, but I did see a bomb before he did it, so I imagine it was to try and take advantage of that bomb drop. Gotta make sure you get at least one, especially if you're planning on doing the Dark Escape sequence.
Yeah, with that sword, it's just really interesting to see if they want to go back there.
Yeah, I would. I might be projecting given that this is the Tempered Sword bracket, but I would expect that runners in the Tempered Sword bracket would be fairly comfortable doing Dark Escape with a sword. Palmenkott dropping pretty low there.
Yeah, it was it was a bit lucky there, just a half a heart left.
Yeah, it smartly keeps the Green Guard alive in case he wants to do a Death Warp. Let's hope that Torinn doesn't repeat the mistake from the last time I calmed one of his races and takes a death here. Okay, there we go. He gets the Zelda Cell item, which is the book. That does open Desert. Unfortunately, it is a pendant, so we don't really care that much.
Yeah, and did you see that hammer in the sank?
Yeah, which Torinn isn't picking up right now. Torinn deciding to go a slightly different route. Maybe he's going straight over to... I'm not sure what Torinn's route is here. This is... I'll say it's unorthodox.
Well, I'm guessing it's trying something here, just going to check those 3 items in the closet, hoping maybe to get a flute or something.
Yeah, this is a lot more common to see when you have boots, because it's just that much quicker to get to these 3 checks, as Quake showed in the Lost Woods. Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see an Eastern tip here at all. I would expect to, after this, we see Torinn go straight over to Sank and get that. Oh, so that's okay. That's a glove showing up in the. Okay, interesting that both Eastern and Palace of Darkness are pendants, as we see. Sahasrahla tells us the green pendant is Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. Now let's see what Torinn is doing here. Is if we're gonna go into Eastern?
He's walking out. If he goes into Eastern, this is a very interesting play, I would say. Although it's not. We do have pendant Eastern, so if there is something freely available here in Eastern, as you know, it is the same level of access as all of these Kakariko checks that Palmenkott is doing on the left side here. If there's something really good in Eastern, this bodes very well for Torinn. However. From Palmenkott's side, we have seen the hammer and the glove show up already, so the chances that this pays off big for Torinn, a little bit slim.
Yeah, absolutely. But you never know.
Yeah, boots would make a big difference if the boots show up here in Eastern. Palmenkott still without any bombs, unfortunately.
Oh.
Have to come back for that bomb wall in the back of well.
Yeah, and Tori get a bottle there. So that could be good.
Yeah, it certainly makes the Kakariko trip slightly more efficient. Palmenkott might have to come back later just to check that bottle. Not really too big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Definitely losing a little bit of time. You know, probably about the amount of time that was saved. You know, before the escape sequence with that nice tree pull, has to go down, buy some bombs. A little bit less efficient than Torinn is going to be able to do it eventually, but so far I would still give Palmenkott the lead with that ice rod showing up. We will need that because we do know where all the pendants are.
Yeah, and I like that we don't have to have a ice rod hunt here, but it could be maybe a hunt for all the medallions.
Yeah, I mean, I almost find ice rod hunts more palatable than than some other kind of hunts. You know, when you're hunting for something that gives you access to something rather than just like the ice rod, which lets you finish the last dungeon, it's sometimes a little bit more frustrating because it's you get the item, say it's the fire rod. It's like, okay, cool, I finally found the fire rod. Now I can clear Skull Woods and Turtle Rock. Like you've still got so much of the seed left after you finally find it.
Yeah. But I think the best thing with early Ice Road is that you maybe don't have to go into Turtle Rock early to search for it, or hoping it's gonna be on Laser Bridge. I like risk. I like taking risks personally, so I enjoy the thrill
of diving into Turtle Rock without the ice rod, hoping it shows up there, because it's such a rush when it does. But it's a little bit spooky for sure.
It's a gamble.
Okay, half magic lamp. I don't think we saw the key in the front of the escape sequence. So chances are pretty good that we'll see the escape done from the rear at this point. If at all, because if we don't find the key in the back of escape, then we know that the key is in Dark Cross.
Yeah, and we do know now that we have access to Aga here as well, because we have both the lamp, the sword. The lamp, and we have the cape. With cape
Yes.
On Torin's side. I see it's not marked on the tracker, but we have it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Torin has the cape. Torin does not have the lamp, and Palmenkott has the lamp. Does not have the cape. The cape was in the middle chest in Sahasrar's closet. Torin deciding to do South Shore first. This is a kind of a strange route. I'm gonna call him out on it. This is weird. Kakariko is definitely one of those places that you like to hit up early because it's so dense. At a certain point, it kind of doesn't matter which order you do it in, but it generally makes more sense to do Kakariko first because it sort of maximizes the chances of you getting that early boots or early flute to sort of make everything else faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely have to ask him about that later.
Yeah. The other thing that we know with our item layout here is we do know, since we know that Aga is accessible, we have the glove and the hammer. The only thing we need for full Dark World access is the Moon Pearl. That could very well be on the Pyramid Ledge at this point, which is sort of the one situation where you have those items for access to the Dark World, but you're still forced to fight Aga.
Yeah.
Now it's still kind of early days because the glove and the gloves do. The glove and the lamp. The glove and the lamp do allow us to access the mountain. So if we find the hook shot, that gives us Paradox Cave, which is another 7 checks.
Yeah, or the mirror. We can get from the top with that hammer.
Yep, exactly. So there are 2 items that allow us to access Paradox Cave at this point. Both of the runners sort of seemingly prioritizing this that early book and checking out the desert.
Yeah, it's more attractive with that lamp as well, and glove, so he can finish it if it's not boots locked.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a pendant here. Can't get this early crystal. But 2 items in desert. I've seen important items in desert before.
Yeah, and like chat was saying, Torin used up all his bombs in Mini Moldrum, so he was a bit lucky to get that bomb, 3 bombs from one of the chests in there, and also we see that he gets some more bombs from the monsters outside as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the compass shows up in the free chest in desert, so we see the big key is on the torch. That is a boots locked desert palace. It is a pendant, so maybe we don't care. Unfortunately, we don't get to see any of the items out of here.
On a ledge?
The ledge item, I believe, was something unnecessary. I think it was either a piece of heart or a heart container.
And something interesting as well was that they got a sword there in the library, and the last race they had also a sword in library. And a blind check here on the race game.
Yeah, he's gonna get rewarded with. I think this was the 10 bombs, if I remember correctly. Palmenkott finds a bottle in Agina's cave. 8 seconds. That's not bad. Bad is 9 or more in my book. Mm-hmm. So here Torin finally getting around to Kakariko. Luckily for him, Boots did not show up in Kakariko, so he didn't lose time by not finding Boots in Kakariko Village. He's going to be able to give us our first glimpse at what Sick Kid has for us, or for Ladder Aficionado's Lazy Kid.
Yeah, and after this it's gonna be interesting to see if Palmenkott is gonna do fake flipper checks, because he don't have that much left.
Yeah, there's okay, Cane of Samaria on Sick Kid. That's not something Palmenkott's gonna miss by any means, because he did get that bottle out of Agina's cave.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna really swing the race too much, and it also doesn't open up anything else yet. So I think in logic, what we're sort of left with right now, it's got to be either the item on we've got Old Man Check and we've got Speckrock Cave, and if neither of those are Mirror or Hookshot, I think we're almost we have the Back of Escape, and then we're funneled into Aga if we haven't found any progression by that point. Zora. Yep, Zora is in logic. And we've been a little bit scant on rupees. I mean, even Palmenkott here doesn't have only has 336.
Yeah, perhaps doing a hula hand could be in order to check Zora.
Yeah, I'm certain that that we're gonna see a Back of Escape check. My gut tells me that we're probably gonna see Pearl in Back of Escape. That just seems likely to me. It's based on nothing. It's just my unfounded guess.
Yeah, but with that early lamp and cape, you're always wondering, is this gonna be an Aga seed?
Yeah, Torin now finding the lamp for the first time. Key and map in the Back of Escape, so Palmenkott is going to be going backwards here through the escape sequence to check Dark Cross, which is an item.
Yeah, and a bit nicer here with that lamp.
And good remembering to kill this rat here. It's sometimes easy to forget when going backwards that you do have to kill the rat in that room if you need a key.
Yeah.
You do. Ooh, full magic for our tier 2. Not going to be super useful.
Yeah, and there was nothing there in Back of Escape.
All right, so Palmenkott is going to end up... Let's see, did Palmenkott made it to Ice Rod Cave, correct?
He did. It was nothing. I'm guessing he's gonna do
Closet
and
Eastern.
Then up the mountain, I guess.
Maybe not, actually, because at this point... So, Torin's got a lot of checks left when, he picks up that lamp that puts Aga in logic. Palmenkott doesn't. Palmenkott is going to be like, okay, dip Eastern, go up the mountain, or do Aga. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to pull an early Aga play. It would be a little questionable to do it before dipping Eastern at this point. I think you'd carry this through to an Eastern Palace dip.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider it strange at all to decide to do Aga rather than going up the mountain for 2 checks, plus information on a 3rd.
If you do that, you get that save point as well. So it's not the baddest just to have him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's sort of I would say that the safer play is definitely to go up the mountain. Mm-hmm. As much as I love early Aga plays, I'm a huge proponent of that. I would say that it definitely still makes sense to check the mountain first. If it were between mountain and desert, or Aga and desert, sorry. If it was you either do Aga or you do like the desert area, then I would be more in favor of doing Aga, but mountain has more of that extra value with that save spot, like you said.
Yeah, it looks like Torin is gonna go up the mountain now.
Yeah, and from his perspective, I think that makes sense. If Mirror or Hookshot shows up there, he's fully equipped now with that hammer to basically do anything he wants on the mountain.
Yeah, that would be a nice find for him.
As we're sort of, Torin is going to be seeing some new checks pretty soon, but Palmenkott, treading old ground, take this moment just to give a shout out to the Restream crew, Trey Spyre on the Restream. Awesome, huge shout outs to Trey. KapiteinKOEK is going to be on the tracking. KapiteinKOEK was actually in a race mere minutes ago. So I'm actually not sure if that's been... No, okay, yeah, I think KapiteinKOEK just joined here. As Torin finds the mirror on the mountain. This is getting a little out of hand here. But yeah, huge shoutouts to the Restream team. Torin finds the mirror. This is awesome for Torin.
Yeah, that gives a lot of checks for him now.
Yeah, that's full access to Light World Death Mountain, as well as our first crystal in Tower of Hera. Because with the lamp, it is 100% in logic to full clear that dungeon. So yeah, that's a great find. Vanilla mirror, by the way. Yeah, that's vanilla.
Yeah, it's the second vanilla location we had so far.
Yeah, vanilla sword, vanilla mirror.
And I like
5-6 on Ice Palace and Turtle Rock. Torin taking a huge amount of time to process that information.
Yeah, I was really quick on the first check, but now it took a little more time there.
Yeah. Yes, that's definitely a skill, is doing those quick map checks. Being able to just take a quick glance and remember that information.
Yeah, I think the smartest thing is not to check for the blue crystals, because all that are left there in the end is gonna be blue crystals. So just mark the other stuff.
Yeah, I would have thought that that second check would have just been you have the 2 Light World pendants, and then you get the 3rd pendant information from Sahasrara. At that point, you should have everything checked off. All you need to check is look for those red crystals, check those off, you're done. So. Yeah, for any newer runners out there, that's definitely something that it's kind of silly to focus on, but it's not worthless. As Torin pulls the bow, so this was definitely the right way to go. Palmenkott following pretty closely behind here.
Yeah, so would any more runners go back and clear Eastern now? We have one item left there, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of good news for both of these runners that their opponent ended up doing Eastern first. So both of them are going to have to double. Well, no, never mind. It's a pendant. So I didn't count our items in Eastern. I don't know if there's one still left on the boss.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I think they have at least found the compass.
Yeah, it's Torin is going to show us here. Are we going to have a 3rd vanilla item? Moon Pearl could still show up right here. It does not. Okay. But yeah, the possibilities here right now, we could have Moon Pearl on Pyramid Ledge still, but we also do have Paradox Cave, which is 7 checks for that Moon Pearl to show up. It's kind of interesting to see the Bomberman sprite for the bunny form of Frog here. I'm not sure what that connection is.
Oh yeah.
I feel like his. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is Frog from Chrono Trigger.
It is, yeah.
And Chrono Trigger is not a Capcom game, or Capcom isn't Bomberman. That's Konami. I'm not a big Bomberman guy. My apologies to any Bomberman fans in the audience.
Maybe someone in the audience here know why why he turns to Bomberman there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bomberman does not make a cameo appearance in Chrono Trigger to my knowledge. Torin, excellent job on that hammer Moldorm, by the way.
Yeah,
Not
really
Squaresoft.
nice fight.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
I'm
cool.
not a big Squaresoft guy either. I know Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 1, and like the first fifth of all the Final Fantasy games before 7. But yeah, I would say at this point, Torin has a little bit of a lead. A couple minutes here ahead. They've both done the same checks here, and Torin has now gotten the first crystal from the Tower of Hera onto the eastern side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, nice getting that item on the boss, so we don't have to go down to the basement.
Yep, that's huge. I wouldn't even say peace of mind. It's just like, oh, thanks, Moldorm. True homie right there.
Nice bomb jump there from Palmenkott. Have to be a little bit careful.
You always have to be a little bit careful with those bomb jumps. For anybody who's new to playing Link to the Past, those bomb jumps look so much freer than they are. I am a staunchly I don't like bomb jumping. I don't like doing it. Because the first time I tried it, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't free. Well, then I'm not interested in grinding it out. But yeah, bomb jumps definitely take some practice and some setup to get used to. So anytime you see a bomb jump, it's definitely a little bit tougher than it looks.
Yeah, it's a bit scary to do there in Hera as well, because if you fall, it's 2 floors, I think.
Yeah, Hera is pretty nasty with those drops there. Excellent restraint there on Palmenkott's side too. Makes sure to take out Moldorm without taking any unnecessary risks. Gets that first crystal there, as Torrent uncovers the Moon Pearl there in Paradox Cave.
Well, I'm guessing it's not gonna see an Eastern Play now.
Yeah, I would assume we go straight to the Dark World. It'll be interesting to see though. Looks like going to Link's house here, we're gonna see the Hype Cave to whatever play. Palmenkott gets dead rocked there.
Yeah, and the last game, Torium went to Hype Cave first, and Palmen went up to the Dark Hack. Let's see if it's gonna be the same here.
Yeah, I would say I really like Hype Cave first play because you have a lot of options out of it. Especially if you have Hammer Dark World access like Torin does here. You take the Hype Cave. Depending on what you get, you can either go east into Village of Outcasts. If you find the mitts in any time in these, let's see, we have the mirror, so this is 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, so 7 checks to get the mitts that allow us access to Village of Outcasts. And if you don't, sort of no harm, no foul, you've gotten those all cleared out, so it kind of frees up Smith Chain later on.
Yeah, wow, that was a really bad
Ooh, nice bomb jump there. Nice bomb jump there from Palmenkott, though. That's a really nice one to get, because if you fail it, you kind of have to just, suck it up and kind of do the no bomb jump strats. But that feels good to get, that bomb jump in Paradox Cave, because it really just saves you a load of screens.
We've done 2 really good bomb jumps here, so I guess he has trained them a bit.
Yeah, getting those bomb jumps consistently is something that definitely takes some practice, and it's something that you kind of need to have practice in for it to save you time, because a lot of them save a little bit of time. They save a significant amount of time, but only if you get them first try.
Yeah.
If you have to try a couple times, then they're not very useful at all. So it's nice to see Palmenkott nailing those.
Yeah, we haven't any good items here on Torrent's side when you check the south here in Dark Well. It's a hard.
Interesting to see Torrent continuing on. I would think that about 600 rupees is would be plenty. We do have Zora yet, but that's about the only thing we still have to pay for.
Yeah, Palmenkott did the same here. Went to Hype Cave first.
Yeah, Palmenkott has the option here of going and checking Pod. Pod is full clearable, and it is the green pendant. So that's worth a whopping 6 items, but it is a hefty time investment.
And wow, it seems like it's gonna be that.
I like to see this, not only because it's different than what Torrent did, but it's easy to dismiss this play as being low value because Pod is a pendant. But we have the pyramid ledge here, and then 5 items in Pod, and then 6 if you decide to full clear it. So this isn't a bad play by any means.
Yeah, and it could be that he goes up to Catfish as well, and maybe check Zora.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that Catfish and Zora together is that sort of like covering your ass in case you end up orphaning those and they're really important later on, because those 2 checks are really easy to orphan. The sort of meta play, if you will, here is exactly what Palmenkott is doing, going to Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, with no flippers, it's understandable because you have to skip out on some checks there in the waterfall and on that ledge on Zora.
Right.
If you don't know Splash Delete, of course.
Yeah, the without a decent way to set up fake flippers other than the flash delete, splash delete, excuse me. Mirroring from Catfish has a lot less value because you have to skip the Zora ledge. And you basically only get to combo it with Zora, rather than if you have the flippers, you combo it with Zora and 3 other checks.
So let's see if Pod has something for us.
Yeah, there's a lot of memery around Pendant Pod, like, oh, Pendant Pod always has something, or oh, Pendant Pod is always a trap. In this case, I'm definitely inclined to feel like Pendant Pod would have something, because we got all of the items to access it very early on. Like, they were all very sort of because let's see, the lamp was in Blind's hut, the bow was, I think the bow was probably the most hidden one. That was in Tower of Hera. The hammer, the glove, both of those were free. So access to this part of the game, in terms of the overall logic web of the game, is pretty accessible. So it's very easy. There we go. The mitts show up in Pendant Pod there. So that's a huge up for Palmenkott. It could, especially if Torrent keeps finding other items like Fire Rod, if Fire Rod shows up, Flute, Hookshot, all of that could keep him very, very far away from Palace of Darkness here. So that's huge for Palmenkott.
Yeah, and that can mean maybe he's gonna do Ice Palace. Well, he still needs his bombs and Fire Rod, but we still have 3 more items here in Pod.
Yeah, and that's I feel like that's exactly why I really like this Pod play, because there's a certain, you can't exactly like prescribe how the logic works in this game. A lot of it is kind of feel, but I think that's part of it is all of the items required to access these items in Pod here were relatively, like, most of them were free. Most of them were accessible as soon as you start the game. Like, any of them could have been the first item, other than the Moon Pearl. Well, I suppose the Moon Pearl was really the only one that you needed to find another item to unlock, because it was in the basement there.
Yeah.
And that's sort of something you kind of learn to get a feeling for the more you play Rando, and it's kind of I think it's the reason that a lot of us like it. There's the flute, pendant pod, really turning up big, for Palmenkott here. I think at this point you just full clear the dungeon. You know, maybe something's behind green pendant. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a bit surprised if you don't full clear it here. But Torin finding that Bombos on Bumper Ledge is a nice find as well.
That's true. But we do know that Torin's gonna be pretty hard stuck until he gets to pod. Mitts is a really big item, is that unlocks so much of the Dark World, because you know in the vanilla game it's the dungeon prize of Thieves Town, which could very well be the third Dark World dungeon you do in the vanilla Link to the Past game. And it's basically the thing that locks the first half of the Dark World from the second half of the Dark World. It just unlocks so many things. So it's a pretty big item as far as Rando goes. So not having Mitts really keeps you away from a lot of things.
And I think it's actually one item left here on Helma.
Yeah, and we see Torin going through the Lost Woods here to go to Village of Outcasts. Again, choosing not to go from Hype Cave to Palace of Darkness means that Palace of Darkness is going to be a relatively later check. Torin deciding to check the pedestal first. Probably because there's no fire rod, so you don't want to count on the full clear. Also, he was just in Skull Woods. I haven't been paying too much attention to Torin's routing, but I want to say it's a little bit suboptimal here.
Yeah, I think he died outside there of Bumper.
Yeah,
I had to go around back to check Thieves Town, I guess. And Village of Outcast. Those Aerodactyls birds are kind of dangerous.
Yeah, Ben in chat pointing out that if you're going to prioritize Village of Outcasts because you know you've got the free crystal in Thieves Town, I do agree that you probably want to do the village area first rather than the quote standard Skull Woods. You know, you check the front of Skull Woods, see if it's got an item. You want to, since you've done the south side Hype Cave through to Dig Game, you kind of want to give yourself that you sort of keep going that clockwise circle. Give yourself a chance to find Fire Rod before you go into Skull Woods.
Mm-hmm. Nothing there in the Sea House. It's always nice to have the hammer when you go into Thieves Town and you know you can full clear it.
Yeah, I always find that people seem to prioritize it or weigh it a lot more heavily than I do, and I think it's just because I haven't yet been bitten by a important item in Thieves Town Big. Because if you need to go back to Thieves Town for it, it's a pretty hard last location.
Yeah. Oh
Palmenkott
wow.
with the boots showing up there, that's
big.
Yeah, Palmenkott. Yeah, this is great for Palmenkott. Palmenkott in a I would, maybe it's a little early to say. We're only 36 minutes in, but in a very good spot to even up this series. Cuz you know, you get boots and flute in the same independent dungeon along with a major progression item. I mean, it's going to be a little while before Torin gets over there. It's probably looking like it's going to be a little bit, unless the fire rod shows up. You know, then you do Skull Woods. But without the mitts, you know, there's no reason to go up to the mountain. No hookshot or flippers. There's no reason to do ice palace or swamp. But yeah, Palmenkott's in a really good spot here.
Interesting. He goes into Eastern Palace here right away.
Yeah, that is a kind of strange choice. It's possible that there is an item on the boss, in which case, if we know that there's an item on the boss, I think this play makes a little bit of sense. Because, you know, just in case it's another really important item, this is going to be the fastest it's ever going to be to do it. You've got the boots. Mm-hmm. You're right there. All you have to do is mirror. So this is kind of it's a couple minutes spent to be completely sure that you're absolutely done with this area. Well, so from that perspective, I like it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And he doesn't know what's on ped yet, so.
Yeah, exactly. Without the ped check, it's there's a lot of potential value to this play. And given that if you do this play at any other time, it's going to take you several more minutes, I think this is a decently conservative play.
Yeah, so we also see that Torinn picked up the hookshot there in Thievestown.
Yeah, hookshot at this point actually doesn't open up too much for Torinn, which is good news for him because he needs to go to pod. Hookshot early game opens up the right side of Death Mountain. Mm-hmm. However, we had that open with Mirror and Hammer already. We need the hookshot for Swamp Palace, but we can't access that without the flippers. So the hookshot it's useful, but not game changing here for Torinn.
Well, maybe the flippers could be in here as well. Hoping not for him, I guess, because he have to go to pod sooner rather than later.
Yeah, unless Fire Rod is about the only thing that could show up that's going to keep Torinn from going, I think, directly to pod after this, because there's pretty much nothing else in the cards. Palmenkott tries to flute out of Sahatra's closet, forgets that he hasn't activated it yet. So, waits a couple seconds there. But, like, I understand that mindset. You know, you get the flute pretty early on in Palace of Darkness. You finish all of Eastern, and you go check Green Pendant. Forget you haven't actually been to Kakariko again yet.
Yeah, and he hasn't checked on a Sick Kid yet, so he haven't gotten that Kano Samaria.
Yeah, that's going to be showing up pretty soon. We could see, I imagine after Palmenkott activates this flute, we might see Palmenkott go straight to Mire, even. It's conceivable. Because we have that Samaria shows up on Sick Kid, we might see the Mire play rather than the Village of Outcasts. Because with the boots and Samaria, Mire is full clearable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're gonna get a check here on Lumberjack.
Yeah, neither of the runners checked this at the beginning of the seed. With the boots and the cape and lamp, this item is in logic. Actually, I think we saw Torinn check it. Maybe. No, never mind, we didn't. I'm confusing this with some other seed that I've watched recently. So, just bombs. No, I think tries to flute again, still forgets he hasn't activated it.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that is kind of, it's kind of indicative of good routing, right? Because you don't necessarily want to activate the flute right away, because you know it's kind of inefficient routing to just make a trip to CAC just to activate the flute. Mm-hmm. You kind of want to route it in where it makes sense. So then the drawback of that is there are times where you'd love to use the flute, but can't. You kind of forget you haven't activated, and it's like, okay, cool, I'll just flute to KAPiteinKOEK and then activate the flute.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Torin finding the Cane of Burna on Graveyard Ledge. Palmenkott kind of orphaned that check a little bit. It's nice to see that it's just the blue cane. Interesting, Palmenkott decides to go to Mire area without checking Sick Kid, maybe forgetting that he hasn't checked it yet.
Yeah, and also skip that Master Sword on Library.
True. Forgot that Master Sword did show up earlier. Looks like Torin's kind of forgotten about that too.
And we have access to Mire.
Oh wait, no, Torin hasn't forgotten about it because Torin hasn't found the boots and pod yet. Torin did find the mushroom though. I missed where that showed up, but Torin's got it right there on the item bar.
I guess it maybe was in Thieves Town.
Yeah, most likely. That or Outcast somewhere, but either way, Torin's gonna go turn that in. Probably go up to Zora after that. Could have vanilla flippers.
Yeah, could have, yeah. Checkerboard didn't have anything. And I'm glad Palmenkott didn't go into Mire with just a fighter sword.
Yeah, we did see that. We do have the medallion for Misery Mire, so and conveniently finds the Cane of Samaria there. Could go back and clear Mire now if necessary, but given that we did just check the checks in the area, we can really do that whenever we want at this point. So it makes sense since you made the trip back to Kakariko. Let's do Village of Outcasts now.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, Torin is gonna go to pod here.
I'm not sure what that jump into the water is all about. Probably gonna check Bombos, I want to say. I don't really think this play makes too much sense. Because you can only check the item, you can't grab it.
Yeah.
But, we'll see, I guess. With the hookshot in the mirror, you could think that, maybe this is setting up for a swamp play. He might have forgotten that he didn't have the flippers. Given that he jumped into the water, he might have thought he had the flippers. And at that point decided, okay, well, I may as well still check Bombo's tablet.
Yeah.
Powder. We might need to come back there. Is that item is in logic? Through the Master Sword in library. That means that we do have the Magic Bat in logic. So the Magic Bat could give us our flippers potentially.
Oh, we get a desert check here from Torin. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Palmenkott did this earlier.
Yeah, and it's boots locked, unfortunately.
Yep, unfortunately for Torin. Torin doesn't even have the boots now.
Yeah, the checks Torin had done hasn't paid out too much for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you've got boots, flute, and mitts all in pendant pod. This is kind of the classic example of the whole pendant pod always has progression meme.
Yeah.
Word to the unwise here. It's a meme. It's definitely not a rule of thumb. A lot of the time pendant pod has, I would say, about as often as it has progression, it doesn't have progression. So this let nobody be led astray by this seed. It by no means means that you always do pendant pod.
No, but like you said earlier, you had the fully logical to full clear it with that bow, hammer, lamp, and everything to clear it. That was a smart play.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. and it kind of does go to show why it sort of did make a lot of sense, because again, it kind of goes back to the way that the items are locked in Rando. You know, it's not the seed doesn't lay out this is the intended progression of checks that you need to do. It just it sort of fills in things and decides if it can be put there based on whether or not it's possible to obtain. And when you have the glove and the hammer and the lamp so early, that allows the fill algorithm to put a lot of things in pod.
Yeah.
In a seed where those items showed up later, I think it would. I haven't done the math on this, but I would think it would be a little bit less likely to find that many items in pod. So it's that's one of those things that you definitely get with experience, is you start to get a sort of sense of the subtleties of how the algorithm works. It's hard to put your finger on it, but it's definitely real.
Yeah, and it was really big to find those 3 big items.
Yeah. I mean, even that's unusual for it to pay off that much.
Yeah. That's the stuff you see in Hype Cave, not in Pendant Pod. And good for Torinn that is going to pot now. I guess he don't have that much left, but he's gonna got hopefully all those good items. I'm hoping that he's gonna do Helma here as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is it's kind of dangerous, because especially when you have 3 items in dungeon and one of them is on the boss, it's really tempting to dip after the first 2 if you're coming to it late.
Yeah, if you find 2 big ones, I guess you get tempted at least.
Yeah, most of us have been burned enough by finding one item in, say, Skull Woods, figuring the other item can't possibly be progression, and then last locationing the progression, you know, as the second item in Skull Woods. But I mean, you find flute and mitts in pod at 50 minutes in. Are you really gonna hold out for Pendant Helma? I mean, maybe, given that it's green pendant and you are at pod with mirror. That's sort of the one saving grace of the situation for Torinn. Helma hid the boots, for anybody in chat wondering. The boots were awarded for defeating the Helmasaur King.
And Torinn putting a bomb there on the first chest in pod, getting those mitts.
Palmenkott picks up the Master Sword. So Palmenkott on the Bombos tablet check, whenever it comes, is going to be able to get that powder.
Yeah, Magic Bat could be something big, of course. And it's also going to be interesting to see if he's going to do Smith Chain here.
Yeah, the Magic Bat could also be nothing, but it's sort of sort of an indicator of, in this instance, Palmenkott's routing for this seed was just very good. It just ended up being very, very nice for him, because he's able to route in that Master Sword very nicely. Doesn't check Bombo's tablet first, which I'm still not sure why Torinn did. Again, probably forgot that the flippers hadn't shown up yet.
Something that Palmenkott did miss out on there is Bombos there on bumper ledge.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna take a while to get to. Probably until Fire Rod shows up. Because there's not a lot. Because Palmenkott's done the boots checks. Done King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks. So there's really only Graveyard Ledge and Bumper Cave Ledge in up there to sort of bring him up there.
Yeah. I mean, with those myths, it's gonna be interesting to see if we...
Another bomb.
Yeah,
Charizard used explosion.
Yeah, it's mad to see those two big items.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's rough to decide. No, I'm not gonna go to Pennant Pod. And then it's got the mitts and the flute. That's just rough.
Yeah, but the big thing here is that we hope that Torin is gonna stay to kill Helma.
Yeah, but the problem is, if Torin kills Helma, what is he gonna do when he gets the boots there? He can't bomb Helma. Helma's already dead. That's the really bad thing for Torin here, is it won't be able to lay a third bomb on the third good item. Palmenkott, though, going into Misery Mire is gonna be able to full clear. Gonna be very nice.
And Mr. Torin doing the hammer jump.
Yeah, you're gonna attempt the hammer jump. It's a tricky bomb jump because it is timed. I mean, it's not necessarily trickier than any bomb jump, but it's definitely more costly if you miss it.
There's our last medallion.
Yeah, so that's no matter what, we're gonna be able to see Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
Probably, unless it's Bombos and Palmenkott gets away with orphaning that medallion on Bumper Ledge. I think it would be pretty unusual to see Palmenkott not check it along with the Skull Woods clear.
Yeah, I still also have a Graveyard Ledge left, so it could be that it does them together.
Right. So it would basically be everything else for Go Mode shows up, and then you're just gonna hope that 2 out of 3 is good enough for TR, and it very well might be as far as we know.
And I'm glad to see that Torin is actually going for Helma here.
Yep, that's definitely good news. But with the way that the routing has worked out for Palmenkott here, it's really gonna have to see some decent execution here, because Palmenkott is kind of running away with the lead here.
Yeah, but only 3 hearts here and no powder. I don't think he have anything in his bottles. I know he used one of them.
Yeah, the one, I don't know what the second bottle we saw, but the one in Eastern, was it? Either way, the first one that we saw between both of the runners had blue goo in it.
And Palmer is going for the boss here. We already have one item, so I'm guessing he's hoping it's not gonna be on the Firelock side, the other item.
Yeah, I don't know if he did the Firelock spike chest, but I think if you did that, then you definitely want to just go for the boss instead of cutscene.
I think you skipped both of those checks actually.
Yeah, if you skip both of them, then it's a little more risky. I think most people like to do at least that first one, because if it's a small key in that first Firelocked chest, then that tells you that the big key has to be in the cutscene chest. If you see the big key before then, it's a little more value to skip both of them.
Yeah. And we have a question in the chat about Palmenkott doing hammer pegs, and yeah, he actually skipped out on them.
Yeah, he didn't do anything in Village of Outcasts. I think other than the actual VOO checks in the first place. It's a C-shaped house, bomb shack, brewery. And I think after doing Thieves Town, he went straight down to the library, picked up that Master Sword, and kept doing that counterclockwise loop. Which I think makes sense when you have the mirror, the flute, the hammer, and the mitts. You don't dip hammer pegs. You just leave that for when you're cleaning up Smith Chain later on if you have to. You've got dungeons to clear.
And Palmenkott doing the strat, just hack and slash with that cape on.
Yeah, it's generally the best. If you got half magic and the cape, yeah, it's pretty much the best Best option you've got.
Yeah, because if you slash that much as well, the magic is gonna be really slow to empty.
Yeah, without the half magic, he'd be just about out of magic right now. So you can do it with just the cape, but here he's still got plenty left. Not quite quick enough with the quick swap to get those arrows out. Still cleans it up nicely. Very well done.
Yeah, and I think I saw the other bottle had a fairy in it.
It's good to see Palmenkott though still at 3 hearts. That's definitely the sign of an experienced runner. If you're at 3 hearts and you can hang on to it, just don't get hit. It's as easy as that. Unfortunately, has to go back in for the second item. Doesn't want to leave anything to chance here.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move to check that other item.
Yeah, you could be forgiven for skipping it too at this point, because going back into Mire just for cutscene chest it's pretty hefty time investment. But I do respect the thoroughness here.
We're gonna see a fake powder here, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you do know it's in logic here, so that's kind of a nice little heads up on Torin's side. Because a lot of the time when you do fake powder, it's kind of an out of logic check. But Torin knows that the check is in logic because has the knowledge of powder being on Bombo's tablet. And that is a fully in logic piece of heart there. So well rewarded.
Yeah, wow.
Palmenkott still hasn't checked the ped, so it's gonna get the last pendant here. We could have items in desert. We didn't see any items in here, so there could be good items in here actually.
Yeah, I think it's only like the compass in the first chest there.
Yep, compass in first chest, and that's all we've seen. But if we don't get any items in here, this is a classic oops all dungeons.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Torin's, I think, going for a smith chain here. Maybe just hammer pegs. Nope, going for smith chain. Remembers that it's better to get the smith first and then do hammer pegs. Yeah, probably a little rattled by getting all those items so late. Yeah, that's a really inefficient route to get to the smith there. I'm seeing some rattled Charizards over on the right side of the screen there. That pendant pod did not feel special for Torin there.
Yeah, and Torin forgot to check get that sword on library.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot it was there.
And both items in desert were like 10 arrows and a piece of heart, I think.
Yeah, well, at least we're not seeing Palmenkott clearing the dungeon too. I can see clearing Eastern if you didn't remember whether or not it was an item. Obviously, in that situation, you get the green pendant off of Pod. But if you get both of the items on right side of desert, kind of a hard sell to blind get the last pendant if you don't need to, especially without the fire rod or silvers to get the quick kill on Landmo's. That would be a relatively slow boss fight as well.
Yeah.
Blue mail from the smiths. They're the armor smiths here. This Palmenkott does Dark Death Mountain. I do like this from Palmenkott. This is a lot of items up here.
Yeah, we also get the information what medallion 30 Rocks needs to get open.
We could have Fire Rod in Turtle Rock.
Could be, yeah.
Not impossible.
Super Bunny had nothing interesting.
Ten arrows on purple chest. I wonder if we see. Okay, Torin's gonna check Mire area here. I'm wondering when we see Ice Palace. Torin with that Bombos is going to be able to make at least some progress into Ice Palace. Is gonna be able to full clear Ice Palace. Fire Rod could be in there.
Yeah, it's a high risk that it's gonna be there, but we see that Palmenkott can actually go into Turtle Rock because it was Ether there.
There
or
are
Quake,
flippers.
I mean. Oh, nice.
So that puts Ice Palace in logic for Palmenkott. Probably not going to see the Turtle Rock dip here. We might, because Palmenkott is okay. Palmenkott can do Swamp now, but not Ice Palace in his mind.
Yeah.
So if Fire Rod is in ice, or potentially deep in ice, that's not great news for Palmenkott, because it's going to be hard to get around to checking, because that would be a hard Bombos requirement, and it's going to take him a while to get to that with the with how things are set up right now.
Yeah, that is true. Well, we have 6 items in Swamp Palace, so perhaps it's gonna be some progression there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a danger, but it's possible. I do think that Palmenkott is still in a pretty good spot here. And we're gonna see Swamp.
Yeah, I like that play.
It's one of those nice things about getting those boots relatively early. Whether or not you have boots, it actually has a pretty decent impact on the whole sort of rush dungeons meta. That can sort of get turned on its head if you've got boots hiding out somewhere a little awkward. But having those boots kind of makes it pretty easy to decide whether or not you want to do a dungeon. It's like, well, it's not going to get any faster. Still got to do it. Go ahead and do Swamp Palace here. It's basically a free routing choice.
Yeah. And a little unfortunate here for Torin is going into Mire here with only the fighter sword. That could be a really hard, victorious fight here.
Yeah, at this point, you've got to think Torin forgot about that library sword.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was like I said before. That sword was in the last game as well, so perhaps he just thinks about the game they did like 2 hours ago.
yeah, that's definitely the danger when you play more than one seed in a day. I once lost a ladder race really badly to I think a Go Mode medallion on Lake Hylia Island, which I was 110% sure I had peaked at. I was like, oh nope, I guess that was 5 hours ago.
Yeah, that could happen. I understand that. And I think Palmenkott is playing a little bit dangerous here. I mean, he hasn't bought any potions, but he have a lot of money. And with that flute, it's really easy to access.
Yeah. Usually Swamp Palace is not considered a super dangerous dive to do. That said, Palmenkott does still only have the green mail. Hasn't found the blue mail in. What was that blue mail?
It was on the
Smiths. Yeah. And given how much the rest of the Smith chain held, probably isn't going to get around to getting that mail. So unless the other mail upgrade shows up, might be on green mail for the rest of the seed. Who knows?
Yeah, we see Torin doing a little bit of a room that we don't see that much.
I'm not convinced it's for a good reason either.
Palmenkott is skipping left side here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if I can project a little bit here, and if you're watching this VOD in retrospect, Torin, I hope you'll forgive me for throwing a little shade on you here. To me, this is looking like a little bit of fatigue. Knowing that they've played a seed already today, and knowing Torin the way that I do, look, he's looking a little frazzled to me.
Yeah, but playing 2 games in a row, it could be, like you said, it's a bit of fatigue.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, if you want to be a winner, you got to be able to do it. And Palmenkott finds that fire rod.
Yeah, that's big. Fire rod and shovel can also lead to something. But I think fire rod is actually go mode.
I'd say so, because we do have access to Turtle Rock already. Technically, the game does require the silvers to be available before you defeat the final boss. But
yeah.
it's not a go mode item for either of these runners.
Yeah, but I'm guessing they hope for silvers or another sword. I mean, Master Sword.
Yeah, Master Sword silverless is yeah, it's tough. I would say it's well within the realm of possibility for both of these runners, but if one of the runners finds another sword or silvers and the other doesn't, that's a big difference maker. You don't want to pass up one of those if it's free.
And Torin being a little bit careful here with only 3 hearts.
Yeah, Vidi hits hard even on blue mail. Unfortunately, the stun prize is merely bombs, something that Torin finds less than useful at this point. You know, speaking of Master Sword Silverless, unless another sword shows up and Torin remembers that one in the library, Torin is going to be another sword from Go mode. Because you do need the Master Sword in order to fight Ganon.
I'm doing some bomb strats here. That's nice to see.
Yeah, maybe that stun prize farming was intentional. Yeah, it's really rough fighting Vidi with Master Sword because you know, even with the cape strats that we saw Palmenkott do, it's not nearly as effective with the fighter sword. I'm not sure the fighter sword even damages the eyeballs with a slash.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, I think you need that spin attack. Vitreous is, I think it is the second bulkiest boss, second only to the game's final boss, Ganon. I think it's the only boss that can A, be damaged by silver arrows, and B, survive more than one. Or survive one, rather. Can't survive more than one. More than one is 2, and it dies to 2. But yeah, Vitreous is a tough boss. It's not necessarily tough in terms of being difficult, although it can be that too, but it's just defensively very tough.
Yeah, it is. And he needs to be careful here. 1 heart, I'm thinking maybe he has that fairy left.
He might. I know we saw Palmenkott use his.
Wow, and really nice job here from Torin. I'm really impressed about that fight.
Yep, that's good restraint. You see a lot of less experienced runners will throw that fight away. You know, just get a little antsy and take that last hit. You know, trying not to lose too much time. But you know, Torin takes his time. You know you've got fighter sword. You know this isn't going to go fast. So make sure that you don't die. And that's the best time save you could hope for. Yeah, Palmenkott here, nice presence of mind, decides to go flip the switch, because being in go mode, there's no reason to skip the switch. Skipping the switch is a little bit faster if you're going to full clear Ice Palace, but if you're not intending to full clear it, you can save some time by going back and hitting that switch. So nice heads up there, good knowledge of how Ice Palace works. Knowledge of how Ice Palace works is actually pretty rough. It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, no, and key logic here and everything, it's kind of hard to understand. But we see that Palmenkott did a really nice icebreaker there.
Yeah, no pause buffering over there. The only true way to do icebreaker, in my opinion, is without pause buffering. Sword buffer if you must. No buffering master race, but yeah, excellent icebreaker there.
And we did see that Torin just got a bottle with a fairy in it, so I'm guessing he didn't have it before because that was a bumper cave there, or
King's Bonkrox, yeah. Yeah, kind of unfortunate there, but yeah, Torin now making his way up to Dark Death Mountain. This is kind of a rough seed for making safe meta plays. You know, oh, okay, you know, the meta minimize your Death Mountain climbs, right? So, well, that means you're going to find these flippers late, like Torin is. Or, you know, always be clearing crystal dungeons. Well, then you're going to put off Pod, which had 3 extremely important items. So
yeah.
it's kind of, this seed is kind of perfectly set up to kind of punish that kind of play and reward the measured risks that Palmenkott has taken. Because I don't think Palmenkott has been too risky. They've been very, very reasonable plays, just a little off meta, which is what you need to do to win races a lot of the time.
Well, yeah.
Because if all runners always played to the meta, then it would just be an execution war every seed, and nobody wants to see that. I mean, execution wars are fun, but you know, there's regular speedrun racing for that. Rando is all about the drama.
It is, yeah. Anything can happen.
And speaking of drama, Palmenkott is really fixing to set this series up for a nice, exciting game 3. So this is, again, you know, Torin's just lagging behind a little bit, having made all of the important plays just a little bit too slow.
Yeah, and Palmenkott has been really you did the right choices. I was skipping out on Skullwoods when he didn't have the fire rod and such.
Yeah, and also I think definitely minimizing the errors that I unfortunately have been noticing on Torin's side. Maybe it's possible that I'm focusing too much on Torin and I'm seeing more of those little execution flubs, but overall Palmenkott has definitely been executing well, in addition to good routing.
Yeah, the only thing is that I think he played really dangerously early, that he didn't stock up on bottles.
Yeah, you know, foregoing the option to pick up those potions. But sometimes that's what you gotta do. You just gotta trust yourself, trust your instincts.
Yeah, that's true. And Torin picking up those flippers, I'm guessing he's gonna go to Swamp Palace after this.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Might decide to do those flippers checks.
All right, yeah.
Because that would kind of be interesting. That would be the time to make a non-meta play.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I've been playing too meta and it's been biting me. It's time to make a non-meta play, and nope, you just have to go to the dungeon this time.
Yeah. But with that fire rod go mode, I mean, just full clear dungeons that you can.
Still hasn't picked up that Master Sword.
Oh, right. That's true.
I mean, I can say this because I'm familiar with him, but what a goober. What's he doing with that fighter sword? It's made of zinc or whatever. Not gonna damage anything. Ain't no evil gonna be baned by that sword.
Yeah, it's gonna be another kind of slow fight here in Swamp Palace as well.
Yeah, fighter sword Argus is. I mean, it definitely does speak to his experience with the game that he doesn't even think. Yeah, I know it doesn't come through in his playing necessarily, but I know he doesn't think twice about doing that. You know, It's not going to be a hard fight. It's just going to be slow, which is not what you want to be when you're racing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now we see a little bit of a bad pattern here on Mothula as well.
Yeah, really hanging out by those sides there. Does have the potions here, so at least there's that. Has had enough,
nice.
Going for the cape.
Yeah, nice. And no silvers or sword yet there on Palmenkott.
Yeah, there's still time for it to show up, because we do only almost have Oops All Dungeons cleared. Didn't finish Desert Palace, but just Turtle Rock to go for a Palmenkott here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 5 items in there, and then you've got GT Basement, so plenty of time for more swords and more arrows to show up. And by more arrows, I mean better arrows. We're probably going to see more arrows, let's be real.
Yeah, that's a big possibility.
It's actually almost a certainty, because slightly lesser known fact, the GT Basement does have a guaranteed junk fill. So a certain number of the chests, I forget exactly how many, are guaranteed to be junk items, which does a lot to prevent the technically possible but incredibly unfun experience of a lot of important items being in Ganon's tower, because there's just so many chests in there. If we didn't do that, then low crystal requirement seeds would just be like, well, the meta is just go to GT because that's where everything is gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a heavy lead for Palmenkott here.
It is, but something interesting is that Torin is going to left side swamp, and if this maybe could be like a sword and silvers, that could be really good for him, of course.
Yeah, I feel like it would almost have to be both at this point, because again, like that can make up a fair bit of time. Master Sword Silverless is very slow, but this is a large deficit. Because again, Torin spent ages getting to Pod, spent ages getting to Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah,
it's rough. This is rough for Torin here. And misses the hook shot there to the other the second block there. It saves a little bit of time if you get it, but if you miss it, then you have to reset the room like that.
Yeah, and it does the swag strat again there.
Yeah, and Torin still needs to pay, even if it is a sword over here, that's only gonna bump him up to master.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's so rough. And that's the thing. You're so used to checking library at the beginning of the season, instantly forgetting what's there. You know, unless it's a unique item that you need to go back for. Sword is one of the only things that you can sort of like, kind of accidentally forget about. Yeah. Because, well, you don't necessarily need to pick up another sword because there are, 2 others in the pool at that point. But yeah, that's just it's rough. It's rough to see that. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with playing 2 seeds in one day, which it's not trivial. You really have to make sure you keep everything straight. You gotta remember your checks.
Yeah, it's easy to mix those runs together.
But then, one of the things about a lot of these tournaments that we do for Link to the Past Randomizer, a lot of the formats for the brackets are best of 3, and in wanting to get a decent time frame, you want to schedule all your matches. You got to do your best of 3 in 1 week.
In 1 week?
It's a little heavier than some of these runners might be used to.
Yeah, 3 games in 1 week. That is kind of it could be hard if they're on different time zones.
Yep, different time zones. We've got European players. Huge shout outs to the non-American people too, because a lot of us are American, and I swear, even more of us are non-American, but we still go by American times. So they get shafted a lot in terms of times, but you know, huge shout outs to the EU crew. But yeah, it's just a scheduling difficulty. That's just a reality of doing these tournaments. You got to know what you're signing up for.
Mm-hmm.
And Torin showing why Fighter Sword Argus is a bit obnoxious, because you need to do a spin attack to destroy those puffs, or even damage them rather.
Yeah, but I'm impressed by this boss fight as well from Torin. It's really nice hooking two together there.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. And I will say things like that are definitely an advantage of taking taking your time and playing a lot of different kinds of seeds. Because even though the sort of Swiss portion of this tournament was a guaranteed sword, a lot of the time, you know, if you play more even swordless, you kind of have to learn some of these other strats, and it really can help you in a pinch. You know, if it helps you sort of speed up your low percent game, which is something that I know Torin's done a lot of. He's done a lot of really wacky seeds.
Yeah, I can see that. He plays really good on execution there on the bosses with low percent. I'm a little bit confused about Palmenkott's check and Mimic Cave, but skipping out on Lava Chest.
Yeah, I would say Mimic Cave is on the way. Lava Chest, you don't get to steal the key if you check it.
Yeah, but yeah. But
it might just be the muscle memory of I'm in go mode, skip Lava Chest, steal the key and skip it.
Could be, yeah.
And then, oh, you know, I'm looking for another sword or a silver's. Check Mimic Cave on the way. You know, just two sort of different bits of muscle memory kind of playing together there. Ooh, Torin doesn't quite get the 2-bomb strat for those Pengators.
Yeah, but Palmenkott, I'm guessing is maybe gonna check Laser Bridge here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you check Laser Bridge. You don't have the blue cane. That was in somewhere.
Graveyard Ledge.
Graveyard Ledge. Yep. For a second, I was thinking that was Blue Mail, but no, Blue Mail was Smith's. But yeah, we got. It's kind of a hard sell to not check it. You've got half magic. You've got the cape. You've got the ability to fall down a hole accidentally. I want to say that was on purpose for the refill. Because
of course.
No, well, the thing is, he doesn't have the powder, and he doesn't have the mushroom anymore, so we can't powder the anti-fairy in the next room for the free health refill. So, you know, may as well get a little bit from the death. Also, pointing out, he did have to do Laser Bridge because there was a key there that he needed.
I don't think so, actually.
Well, maybe not, actually. I don't know. He skipped out on the last two, so I assume he did that because he found a key. But
no, because he died, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you just give up.
It was two other items on the bridge, but nothing important. And a bit of a hammer strats here on Trinix.
Yeah, hammer strats are not. Ooh, is there anything in that bottle?
No, no fairies.
There is not.
I guess that was it. It took the safety as well.
Yeah, it took the safety. Yeah, the green mail definitely hurting a little bit on this Trinex fight.
Yeah, but this is a hard fight. I remember in the beginning for me as well. I died a few times there when I had to do a hammer fight. Like if you do a hard standard or something. Yeah, in my opinion, the thing that's the toughest with the hammer strats is it kind of throws you off rhythm for when the head is going to charge at you. Because it is on a consistent cycle,
And unless you're really paying attention to that tail wag in the background, which is really easy because it's kind of behind all the status bar stuff, those freezes on the heads when you're focused on trying to get those hits in and get those menus quick, you can really lose track of when that head is about to just completely just knock your socks off. Oh,
Yeah.
there was a second sword in Ice Palace. Torin just picks it up.
Oh,
Freeze or chest?
He just ran past that.
Yeah, well, Palmenkott was in go mode. Palmenkott just went straight to the back. And Torin, not in go mode, needs another sword. There it is.
Well, that was fortunate for him.
Yeah, it was. Do we remember? Okay, no, Turtle Rock was also Quake, so Torin isn't going to need to find that Ether Medallion, fortunately for him.
Yeah, that is correct. But a strat that I like on Trinex as well, when you have half magic and you have to do the hammer strat, you can just take out the fire head first and then just spam with the master sword and the fire rod on the ice head.
Decent cleanup there for the Gold Stare. Unfortunately, Palmenkott with the final compass and final crystal. We have a guessing game that we like to play around here. I don't know if we set that prediction or run in here, but got 22 checks in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe behind Ice Armos. So check number 18 or 19 maybe.
I'm gonna guess 12. I usually go with 3 for the tile room meme, but I'm feeling 12 tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know what route Palmenkott likes to do.
I'm guessing it's gonna do Hope Room first. If it's a small key, he go right. Otherwise, he go full left. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will not have an official game, but we can still guess, and it's just about as good. We just don't have a robot acknowledging our deeds here. Palmenkott going left first.
So that's check number 3.
Wait, did he already go right? Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
With the boots, you know, it's kind of fast.
it is. The boots are speedy.
And it was only like a heart and some rupees or something in those two in Hope Room.
And there it is. And another sword. So yeah, there's basically there's very little chance of Torn making this up here. Not even an equipment difference is really gonna make this up. He still has to do Turtle Rock yet. I hate to call races early, but Palmenkott's been playing too good for me to think he's not gonna ace the rest of this seed. But anything can technically happen.
Yeah, of course, but it's all up to execution, and he has done this quite a few times before. So I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's really hard to discount runners with this much experience with the end of the game, because the end of the game is pretty much the same no matter how you slice it. And with a lead like this, you'd have to really choke Ganon in probably. I mean, I'm not familiar with Palmenkott, but probably in a way that he's never done before in order to lose this race. This is a hefty lead he's got here.
Yeah, and especially with that tempered sword as well. I mean, Master Sword, Ganon, anything can happen, but with that tempered,
right.
I think it's not gonna be too much of an issue.
Yeah, even without the silvers, both of these runners are gonna be familiar with that silverless fight.
Yeah. Yeah, nice hammer kill on Torin. He's really been doing a really good job on all of all of the bosses in this game.
Yeah, really just losing time to the routing, how the luck played out for him, and a little bit to some decisions here and there, that some overworld movement that maybe wasn't optimal or clean. But you know, the combat strats, yeah, Torin's pretty practiced with that. Ooh, no. Dead rocked. That one hurts. That one feels unfair.
Yeah, I just like I think it was like when I played Bingo, where I realized that you can kill those enemies with the powder.
Yep. Powder or Quake. Quake also works.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a deviation here as Palmenkott enters the Landmos 2 fight, but anybody who is into any speedrun scene of any game and hasn't looked at the Bingo is just the ultimate test of skill in a game and game knowledge, because like there's so many things that you only need to know in Bingo. It's if you haven't tried Bingo, try Bingo.
That's really fun. We're actually having a Nordic randomizer tournament with Bingo, so we have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, Bingo works really well, especially with I feel like the more open a game is, the better Bingo works. And with Link to the Past randomizer, it's Torin forgot he has to do Turtle Rock. Tries to open.
Oh
GP.
yeah.
That's gotta feel painful. You thought you were there, and it's like, oh no, I have one more crystal. It's better than realizing you forgot to do something down in the overworld, though. I've had that before, where I was going into a GT and I was like, wait, what happened? Oh, I forgot to finish Desert. Palmenkott does take a death there. He's gonna have to start the climb over. Isn't gonna be feeling great about that. For all he knows, Torin's hot on his heels, and actually that's a fairly big equalizer. That was a late death in the GT climb.
It was, and actually that was kind of like the last game when Palmenkott went up the climb first, but actually didn't bring a key, a small key. So when we was up there, he had to mirror down and go up, and then Torin just went down through and beat him.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'm a good friend of Torin here, I don't think it would be fair if he won this match in that fashion. Yeah, once, okay, 2 in a row, come on. But yeah, Palmenkott still has the lead here. Torin is an entire Turtle Rock behind. Is gonna find that early GT big though, so no shenanigans there. And you can see a little bit of urgency there from Palmenkott. I mean, maybe would have wanted to pick up that 10 arrow drop, but not as big of a deal without the silvers. You're not really going to need the arrows for too much later.
I have to be a bit careful here in the climb, but I'm guessing he's gonna go to the safety room once again.
Yeah, with that green tunic and being at 3 hearts here, you kind of have to watch your health. That's going to be a fairy revival for Torin. That's 1 freebie gone.
Yeah, with no net, we can't, the bug net, we can't get any more fairies.
I suppose we could get fairies from the waterfall fairy. I don't think either of our runners are going to be too keen on going to find out what she's got in store for us.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what health Palmenkott's at after Aga 2. If it's pretty low, you could consider going and picking up some safeties before fighting Ganon. Because we do have the mirror, we do have the flute. But after dying at the top of GT, if you're at Ganon and the race still isn't over, and you feel like that's a hard decision to make. You kind of want to just drop in and hope you clutch the whole thing out.
Well, yeah. I'm guessing he's have to feel behind here and losing that first race in this like almost same way.
Yeah, because you don't feel like you super big brained all of that stuff. It just ended up being Palmenkott did it first rather than a little bit later, and Torrin did it last instead of a little bit earlier, and that kind of just increased the gap a little bit. But then if still doing okay on health after Aga 2, then not gonna feel too much fear dropping right into Ganon.
So this is the room the Palmenkott died last time, so I'm hoping this time he had a little more health, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Nice.
Decides to go and pick up the magic for this room, and also bonus helps avoid the jingle glitch, where the door closing jingle from the torch in the previous room going out plays at the same time that you go up the stairs, despawning all of the enemies for the rest of the dungeon, including the boss. So that would have been absolutely terrible, having to do the GT climb not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yeah, that would be too much fun. And as you would know, a small key was here in the climb this time. So that's just a little bit another a pinch, I guess, for him. And duking out on that next to last chest.
Yeah, Torrin here in Laser Bridge without a small key is gonna have to get a small key here.
And skipping out on validation chest. I'm wondering why. I guess he's feeling really behind now because he died there.
Yeah, like that's almost not worth not checking. It's
so fast.
Yeah.
And you earn a lot of time if you got those silvers. So yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if you die at any point on a GT climb, there's no way you don't feel behind. That is just a rough spot, because at that point, no matter how the race has gone, in your mind, your opponent is at least as close as you are. You never are thinking your opponent is way behind you. So if the closer to the end you lose any time at all, the more behind you feel for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice quick Aga 2 though. Sitting there at 9 hearts, which is just enough to not get insta-killed by a Ganon hug in the final fight. So good news on that front.
Ooh, and Torrin have to be a bit careful here, only 2 hearts.
I want to say that's a little bit of game knowledge, knowing there's a heart under that skull over there on the right side.
Yeah, I've never checked that actually.
Yeah, I'll say I didn't know that was there either. Yeah, but fortunately for Palmenkott here, that Tempered Sword is going to make this fight definitely a lot safer than it would be if he had to go for those Master Sword spins. Has the half magic, has the cape. If all goes well, this should be Palmenkott finishing with a nice sub 145 time, which is it's pretty respectable time.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I have a magic refill.
Yeah, I would assume there is a magic refill. You don't use all your magic otherwise.
We do see that Torrin is just spamming that blue head with the fire rod.
Oof. Does he have a magic refill?
I hope he does.
Yes, he does. But then he won't have it for the Ganon fight, which he's very well might be doing on Master Sword. Might pick up that, might get that tempered. Arrows were in GT, could have been in Validation chest.
It could have been, yeah.
But we are on to phase 4, and so as long as Palmenkott keeps his head here, this should be a victory This is the most sneakily dangerous phase. This is sort of the least dangerous in terms of damage. It's not often to see runners die on this phase.
No.
But if you get too greedy for those hits, it's really easy to get chained by the bat and knock down the hole.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the fight that, I mean, I told this to my mentee over and over again. In the Ganon fight, no matter what, the fastest way to do it is to just keep your head. If you try to rush it a little bit, you're probably going to lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, I'd rather maybe take 30 seconds to a minute longer than to take a fall.
Yeah, taking a fall, and especially if you're doing one of these lower percent clears, Tempered Sword isn't so bad, but especially if you're doing Master Sword Ganon, it's extremely important to avoid taking those falls, especially if you're on green mail, because you really want to minimize the amount of time you spend in phases 1 and 2, because you can take a lot of damage there. If you get past it, you got to make it count. That's sort of my my motto on the Ganon fight.
And there we have it. Palmenkott takes this to game 3.
Yeah, that's great to see. Especially after losing the. Getting killed by that laser there. It must have been flashbacks to earlier today. You don't want to lose 2 seeds in a row to a screw up in GT. That's just heartbreaking, especially if it ends your tournament life. But Palmenkott still in there. I would say, just from watching this set, game 3 is anyone's game. We're joined here in the booth by the esteemed Palmenkott himself. GG's.
GG's, thank you so much.
Oh, how did you feel about that death in Ganon Climb?
I felt very, very nervous. In game 1, I basically lost entirely due to forgetting to pick up the small key before the GT climb, which felt so bad. I lost just by a few minutes, so I had to climb the whole gauntlet and all again. So when I died there, it felt like, GT was coming back to haunt me one more time.
It would have been probably the worst ending for everybody,
Very
spectators
much.
Involved, if that had happened. You never want to see
Yes.
somebody knocked out of a tournament because of GT
No.
twice. But anyway, you took it out. You've got a game 3 going.
Yeah.
So I suppose the big question is, what was your reasoning towards the big play you made earlier in the seed? Namely, you went straight to pod, which ended up paying off big.
Yes.
So what were you thinking there?
I mean, first and foremost, what the heck was up with pod? Like 3 insane items of progression. It was insane. So, I mean, I didn't expect that. But, we had hammered super early. I just followed, a trail of breadcrumbs up on the mountain. I found the bow. And I felt, okay, we're gonna go to pod, or at least we're gonna start from Hype Cave and then go eastward. And then, green pendant pod, I almost always do that. There's so many items in there, and I just had gotten the bow, so it just felt natural to me. I didn't want to go to Village of Outcasts just yet, because I knew that Skullwoods was a crystal, so wanted to save that for a while, and I could.
Yeah, I think I agree entirely. As much as I'd like to say that that Torin made the more meta play of ignoring the pendant dungeon, I want to say that you made the sort of heads up choice in this in routing this seed. Because even before you found anything of value in pod, I was remarking that we found a lot of the pod access items very, very early on in Logic. The hammer and the lamp were both completely free, and there's just so much in pod. It's easy to forget about it because it's kind of locked away by a lot of stuff, so it's easy for a seed to not put stuff in there in certain seeds, but you got to sort of have that sixth sense of being able to take advantage of that. And I think that's exactly what gave you the big heads up in this race here.
Yeah, I think so too. But then, I mean, after that, the seed was very, very open. So I just tried to get stuff from my mitts and flute. So tried to go down to, Mystery Mire, check that out. Then I was able to get some Aria, so that I could actually clear it. But I just tried to follow the items, basically. But then I was very scared for the Master Sword, the Silverless Ganon, so I was so happy for that Stalfos room to bail me out.
And well, meanwhile, we were all sweating for Torin, who apparently forgot that the library had a sword.
Oh my god.
So I ended up getting the second sword. Where was it? Was that on...
Ice Palace.
Yeah, Ice Palace. Freezer Room had a sword.
Oh, right. I totally ditched that, yeah.
Yeah, because you were full go mode. Torin was not in go mode and needed to find another sword.
Okay.
So,
the funny thing is that in game 1, which we played just, like 1.5 hour, 2 hours ago, the Master Sword was also in the library, exactly the same location. So both of us had some degree of like seed bleed. I so many times thought, let's use the powder, but then we didn't have a powder, or like let's use the net, but we didn't have it.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense that Torin forgot that now.
And that was also
probably be pretty easy to think, oh, Master Sword in the library. No, that was last seed.
Exactly.
So yeah, that I think I can forgive him a little bit more. I won't give him so much crap for it.
And
now.
that was also the reason why I totally lulled and did Eastern, because Eastern, well, it was a crystal last seed, so I just, let's go, I'm done with pod, let's go, let's do Eastern, but then, what? It's a pendant.
Oh,
so that was a misplay. Yes, that was a misplay.
I was thinking about why you were
the clear, like, oh, we must have missed it. There must have been an item there. We're also joined courtesy of the 10-minute stream delay. No spoilers, but Palmenkott did win this. So TorinntheDragon, while he's finishing GT on stream, has joined us in the booth here. GG's Torin, how are you feeling after 2 full seeds today?
I have no idea what the heck happens.
Yeah, I mean, so we were talking with Palmenkott. Really the biggest difference maker was totally opposite priorities of Pendant Pod. 3 items in there. You ended up almost last locationing them, which
wow,
basically was kind of the whole story of the seed. Really is just didn't manage to recover from that.
But GG Torin, either way, to finish it out with the Master Sword hunt and all.
Yeah, so did you... So I heard that apparently your previous race, the Master Sword, was also in the library. Did you forget... did you convince yourself that you had misremembered that? And not go back to the library for that Master Sword?
No?
Because you
I already talked about my last seed.
Yeah, so the Master Sword was also in the library in this seed for Palmenkott. For you, it was obviously in Freezer Chest, but I think you
wise.
I think you both checked library, but only Palmenkott went back for that Master Sword after the boots showed up. So I'm guessing that was probably some seed bleed, because you also had at that point when you got the boots off of not Trinex, Helmsar King, you had other things on your mind at that point in the seed.
Yeah.
I need ACCD. Always clear your crystal dungeons.
But yeah, this was just a rough routing, honestly. That just sort of came down to that. And as I was sort of mentioning earlier on, just 2 seeds, almost back to back it's a marathon to do that.
Absolutely.
And it's really rough to turn right around and get your brain wiped clean for the next seed.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah, and you guys get a game 3. You get to keep going.
Oh god.
Exactly, and we don't really know exactly when that's gonna be. Actually, we'll have to try to figure that out.
Well, I did get MT admin about that, because I know that you send me your schedule and you're pretty much booked.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the week.
Well, at least from Friday and on. Yes.
The thing is, we could get a day extension, probably on Monday, if we need it to.
Okay.
Well, either way, GG's. I think that'll yeah, unless we want to sit here on Restream and watch Torin's eventual completion of this seed here. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts to talk about here.
Not very much from me. Just thanks so much for putting up this restream. It was fun to be able to be on here and not embarrass oneself too much here.
Yeah. I really think you played well. And to Torin,
about me about the Misery Meyer play.
Yeah.
I mean, if for not picking up the Master Sword until really late, I think you did admirably on most of the bosses and stuff. You didn't really bat an eye at either Cold Stare with Master Sword or Vitreous with Fighter Sword. So that's some moxie that you showed here, Torin. Even if you didn't manage to win the race, you definitely managed to win our hearts.
Definitely.
But still, holy crap.
Oh, here we've got in perfect stereo now. We have Torin's, I would imagine, successful Ganon fight here.
I love how, like, the second time through the fight, it was a lot better than the first time.
Oh, that's how it, I mean, I would say that's a lot of the time that's how it goes. If you take that reset, you go get your safeties and stuff. That there's a lot to be said for the mental reset that provides you. Lets you sort of come in fresh, whereas if you dive right back in, a lot of the time you're apt to make the same mistakes more than once. I found that out though when I was first doing my first hard item pool Master Sword Silverless Ganon fight. It took me an hour and a half to do it, mostly because I just wouldn't quit and just go get my safeties.
Yeah.
So I guess but the thing is like I can't believe that the sword was there twice. I even realized.
Yeah. I mean, we figured that out. It's like he must have either forgotten or not realized that the sword was there. Now, another thing. Speaking of swords, how did we like the 2 vanilla items that showed up in this seed?
Which ones?
A vanilla fighter sword and vanilla moon pearl.
Oh yes, I mean, vanilla fighter sword. I've basically never seen it there. So there was something weird with the sprite when you entered the room. It was all black, but then you could see that sprite.
Actually, no, you're wrong. It's vanilla mirror.
I did say vanilla mirror.
You said moon pearl.
You know what? You know what? I don't need any of your sass tonight, Torin.
Oh man.
But yeah, GG's. Torin finally finished the game 10 minutes ago. As of right now. And yeah, good luck in the game 3. Hope you guys can get that scheduled. And,
yes, we should absolutely.
I want to say we have another race that's being restreamed tonight.
All right, cool.
Just let me check the schedule. I want to say it's at 8:30. Maybe not. Let's see.
I mean,
Nope,
at least the game
yep,
3
yep.
at least gives me another mental break for minutes.
Yeah, so there's one tomorrow at 8. Restreamed by the inimitable Trey Spyre. And another Trey Spyre restream tonight at 5:30. No, is that? I'm 5:30. I can't do time. Yeah, so that's coming up. That's coming up in just a bit, right?
Cool. Good luck with that. And thank you again to the Restream team and GG Story.
Yeah, GG.
Yes. we'll talk about game 3.
Yep, we'll talk
Okay.
about game 3.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you so
leave you
much
with
for
that
this.
tonight. Yeah, thank you guys for the excellent race. I've been Ezmar. Swedish Arctic Fox has been Swedish Arctic Fox.
Yeah, I'm here
And,
too.
We will see you later.
Nice.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.